Okay, episode 4 of chatting shit about the Sunrise Cup, and tonight I'm joined by 3 guys who I was lucky enough to meet in the last in-person tournament that I did, which seems like a long time ago now. Joined by Leo, Greg, and Dylan, who all made the long trip down from Scotland to Leeds. And here we are now. How are we all, guys?
Smashing.
Good? Yep.
Yep, doing good.
Thank you.
Nice one. Yeah, no, good to have you on. To be honest, obviously it's been a long time since I've spoken to you guys. I couldn't remember how thick the accents were, and I'm pleased to say I can understand everything that's being said.
So may or may not have a wee bit of trouble with me.
Yeah, so someone commented on one of the videos the other day that they're the most British PvP thing ever, or like the most UK PvP thing ever. So hopefully this adds to that. But yeah, let's get into it. Leo, yeah, you want to talk about Mantine?
Yeah, I want to talk about Mantine. It wasn't ranked 1 on PvP Poke until I think in the first stage of PvP Poke rankings. It's just the meta, and then I believe it's done a second time to catch mirror matches. So I think before Stunfisk was ranked 1, but now Mantine is ranked 1. So it's going to be very popular, and it's going to be in a lot of teams just because people are sheep and they'll be like, oh, ranked 1, I'll put that in my team. So, but a lot of people will probably run it as said in PvP Poke, because like I said, people are sheep. But I think that Mantine has so much more versatility than it's just moveset, because it has 3 fast moves and it has like 4 or 5 charge attacks. I think 4, including Aerial Ace. And I did some research with more research than I did with Aerial Ace. Obviously I saw some stuff, but I mean, the whole reason why I'm talking about Mantine is because I think it is the safest switch in this meta right now, and with a meta that's so open that like when you're up against someone, there's 6 Pokemon completely different. It's not like other metas where you'll have 2 of that type, 2 of this type, and then 2 of this third type. It's literally going to be 1 of every type, and then a secondary of the 5 types. Maybe some people will like be like, oh, I don't want Vigoroth, I'll just have Blaziken and then double up on 2 other types. But for the most part, there's going to be 4 to 5 types. So I think having a generalist safe switch like Mantine is very important for this kind of meta. And I've been, like I said, I was doing more research with Aerial Ace. With Bubble Beam and Aerial Ace, it can kill its biggest counter, which is a Bomb Snow in every shield scenario. And with going straight Bubble Beam, it can be Stunfisk into 2 shields as well. So if you're running the sort of team where switch is absolutely necessary, then you can use Mantine with Aerial Ace against the grasses. And a lot of people think it's going to have Ice Beam, so that'll throw people off as well. But then again, you can also run Mantine as a closer with shield advantage. Ice Beam does really hit hard, and it can tank a lot of things. And yeah, so it's just got so much diversity. I haven't really looked into the Bullet Seed or Wing Attack variants. I don't think we're going to see much of that, but there's definitely room for like just use a Bullet Seed variant and just run Ice Beam and an Aerial Ace just for like coverage and just hit things hard. That's definitely a possibility, because with all of the attacks is resisted by something. You know, grass resists bubble. The flyers are going to resist the grass, and you know the steel is going to resist the wing attack. So you're gonna lose out somehow depending on the fast attack. So I just really like how flexible it is, and I hope a lot of people realize that and try to not just tunnel vision on PvP Poke, but just actually try to use Mantine to fit the team's requirements and needs and weaknesses.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think it is. Well, it's a spectacular safe switch, isn't it? As you say, and interesting that you touch on the different moves. I hadn't really considered any moves other than Ice Beam and Bubble Beam, because I just don't like running Aerial Ace. It's
not a good move.
No, it's not a good move. But when it does what you need it to do, if it does what you need it to do, that's what's important, I guess, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
If it's good enough, it is good enough. So, what I will say is, I played against someone last night in a practice cup who was running the Bullet Siege variant.
Interesting.
And it just doesn't behave as Mantine should. It completely it threw me off, but not in a way that helped him.
Okay.
It's definitely an interesting option, but I think perhaps as an option to replace something different. I don't know. Maybe it's more like a Bomber Snow at that point than a Mantine. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I think, as you say, certainly give consideration to the other moves. But personally, I'd be ruling out Bullet Seed from the live plays.
Yeah, I think Bubble is probably the best fast attack because it's got water stab, and it's got a good damage to energy ratio. I mean, that's why Azu is so good, and other Bubble users like Poliwrath. Whereas Bullet Seed's really high energy for like really low damage, so you can't really farm things down, especially if it's resisted.
And without stab as well.
Yeah. There's been a lot of situations where I've, fast attack won against, Jump Pluffs and Ferrothorns in GBL and other Silph Cups just because Bullet Seed is just an awful move, damage-wise.
Yeah.
So I do think Bubbles is the best thing, but I wouldn't rule Bullet Seed out.
Fair.
If someone's running something different.
What do you guys think, Craig? Dylan, what do you reckon?
To be fair, I never actually realised if Aerial Ace you could actually beat a Bombersaw, so I could see myself switching out the Ice Beam for areas, because the Ice Beam will give you obviously different matches like Altaria and all that, but I think the Bombersaw matchup's more important.
I think a lot more people's teams will have a Bombersaw than they'll have like Altaria. I mean, the only issue with swapping Ice Beam out for Aerial Ace is that your Mantine can't really fight back against the flyers anymore. But I mean, I think if we're talking, especially Zapdos, I think I'm not really sure, but I'm just kind of hoping that not a lot of people will have these flyer counters like Articuno and Zapdos, but yeah, like I think you want to make your team in a way that beats most or the most common things rather than make it so that it's good against most things.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's a way that I always look at trying to build my teams. To be honest, sometimes it bites me in the arse. Sometimes I try and narrow down what I think is going to be common too much, and I get caught out. But I think, as you say, Mantine is such a good generalist that it can perform against most things. Greg, you keep disappearing in front of that volcano, mate. What's happening?
I'm Blaine, mate. He's up here somewhere.
What do you reckon to Mantine?
Mantine, it's ranked 1 for a reason. Me personally, as some of you might know, I don't like to run number 1 on the list. I just think it's got to be too common, and there's other things that will beat it.
Fair enough.
Well, I think the reason why it's number 1 and why a lot of things are number 1 is because it has a very low energy bait move and a very hard hitting big energy move. So things like whenever Alolan Marowak is in the meta, apart from this cup, it's not usually that high. But things like Gengar, Haunter and stuff, it's kind of skewed because the PvP poke's designed to always shield the first move, and it's always designed to throw the bait moves first, and so that's like it's ranked 1 if people shield all your bubble beams and don't shield your ice beams. So people need to be careful for like, oh, I'm just gonna run Mantine, and if I see a Skarmory, I'm just gonna switch it in or something like that. It's very, very shield dependent and bait dependent, which is dangerous. But that's also why I like the fact that if you remove Ice Beam for Aerial Ace, then you're like, if I see a Stunfisk, straight Bubble Beam, I'll win the 2 shields. If I see a Bomb and Snow, you remove that uncertainty. And when I'm running the simulations, I just remove the second move and be just like, what happens if I go straight Bubble Beam? What happens if I go straight Aerial Ace? And that gives you a more clear view of how good this Pokemon is.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Actually, it can be deceptive because of that Bubble Beam shield in PV Poke. What do you reckon to Pelipper and how Mantine stacks up against Pelipper? I'm presuming you're preferring Mantine.
I'm preferring Mantine because I feel just that Bubble Beam sort of trap. Like if you win switch and then you get a Bubble Beam off, you just go like so far ahead. And it's very and if you're pretty crazy with your switches, you can get some like guerrilla tactics in there as well, and switching in, debuffing, and a load of crazy stuff like that, which I really like about Icy Wind, Bubble Beam, and all those moves. I haven't really looked much into Pelipper, and like I said, if you do remove Aerial Ace away, it will probably lose to Pelipper if it just goes straight. Actually, I'm not sure. Let me find out. I'm guessing it loses, but
it's baity on both sides.
The problem is, it's going to be skewed for. That's probably why Pelipper is so high ranked, because it has such a small such a small energy, weak move, and a huge. Same with Articuno with Icy Wind and Hurricane, but I don't think people will have Hurricane.
I mean, I'm preferring Pelipper to Mantine at the minute. I mean, I'm not by much, but what I like is the fact that if in situations where I do need to go for the bait, if the bait fails, Weather Ball's still going to do a lot to most things, and I think that's possibly enough to swing it for me, and it's a bit faster, but I think they're both completely viable options, to be completely honest.
Except if the Weather Ball is resisted, like on grass types and Obama Snow.
Yeah, of course. Any other thoughts on Mantine, guys? Cool. Well, in that case, we'll move on to my pick, and mine's going to be a short one today. It's Obstagoon. As I said recently, I think in the first episode, I said I couldn't think of a reason to run Obstagoon over Vigoroth. And since then, I've quite liked Articuno and a grass type, which makes me quite weak to the fires. And so, given that most of the fires around this cup are Victini or Alolan Marowak and are weak to dark, I thought that sort of extra dark type tech on my counter user was quite handy, because if I've got a team that's got an ice type and a grass type, and potentially other things as well that might be weak to fire, having the ice and the grass perhaps makes bringing a fire more appealing versus me than it might be to players who only have one or the other. Especially given that Abomasnow is so popular, most people's ice and grass will be the same Pokemon. So I felt like I needed to give myself a bit of extra coverage against fire. And so I think, given what the fire types do, what the fire types are, as Leo was saying, I've tried to narrow down what I'm going to see rather than everything. And so I like that extra coverage on Obstagoon. I mean, yes, you're weak to Vigoroth, with the double weakness to counter. But the way I look at it is that, let's say it was a Vigoroth and my opponent had a Vigoroth in. I never feel comfortable switching Vigoroth into Vigoroth, because I know I'm going to either lose a shield advantage or lose switch. And so Obstagoon doesn't really lose me much there. I also like the fact that it gets cross chop, which I think Galarian Stunfisk beats Vigoroth in the Zero Shield scenario because Bulldoze doesn't quite cut the mustard there. But Cross Drop on Obstagoon does. It helps there, so that's a bonus. And also the Skarmory matchup with Night Slash not being resisted by Steel and by Skarmory, as Body Slam is. You actually win the 1s and the 2s versus Skarmory even without a buff, as long as you don't take a Brave Bird to the face. But I feel like that's a sort of an asterisk that can be put on the end of most of Skarmory's matchups, really, these days. So yeah, I mean that's it really. I think it's ultimately it's not much less bulky than Vigoroth. I don't think. It's equally as spammy. It's not like you're losing stab on counter. Generally speaking, it does the same job. It's just that the lesser inside its own category, but gives coverage elsewhere. I think Vigoroth will be the go-to for a lot of people, which is fine. But I think don't rule out Obstagoon depending on what else you've got on your team. That's my feeling towards it. What do you guys think?
To be fair, I think I probably will pick Obstagoon over Vigoroth, because at the start of when it was first announced, I originally thought I'd see a lot more Wigglytuffs and Clefable, but I've not seen a lot really, so I think its only main counter is Vigoroth, but outside of that it is pretty neutral against most things.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a really good point. I agree. I haven't seen many Wigglytuff running about. Yeah.
You mentioned that the purpose of your Obstagoon was to kind of counter the common fire types. Do you not think Blaziken will be a common fire type?
So when the meta first dropped, the first thing that came to my mind was Blaziken, to be completely honest. Because like you, I thought, Vigoroth, Stunfisk. I thought, Blaziken. But it's just so fragile, and it really struggles versus Galarian Stunfisk outside of the 2 shields. And I think if I wanted a counter user with Stab, I think I'd really be wanting it to have a considerably better matchup versus G-Fisk than Vigoroth or Obstagoon.
Okay.
I had actually looked at running both Obstagoon and Blaziken in the same team.
Oh, wow.
because I kind of thought, well, counter's going to be really good. Most people's teams will have three things weak to counter, I reckon, and maybe only 2 things that resist it. And I thought, when I was thinking about Vigoroth, I thought there's never going to be a situation where if I'm in with a Vigoroth, I feel like I'd always prefer to be either Obstagoon or Blaziken in any given matchup. So maybe I'd run them both, but it's making that choice right is the difficult bit. I mean, maybe it's something I'll try, but I can't see it happening. Yeah, I mean, I think Vigoroth, Blaziken is definitely something that people should be considering, absolutely. But for me, it just doesn't do quite enough to merit that extra slot. But
I was actually trying Blaziken a couple of days ago in some practice battles, but I think it was like 10 games I've done, and at least 8 of the games I played, I got switched in by Mantine and Altaria all 8 times, and I just couldn't get out of it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's got this. Well, I don't know whether you've got Stone Edge one, but
Stone Edge, yeah.
It's nice in theory, but in practice, it doesn't help you a great deal.
Especially in the Mantine matchup, because by the time I got to 1 Stone Edge, 2 Bubble Beans, it didn't really do much.
Yeah. What do you reckon, Greg?
I like fire types.
Really?
Yes, I do. I like Blaziken. I like the fact that it beats Vigoroth, which has got to be popular. I like the fact that it beats Obstagoon. I know it's quite hard to come by because I've had a nightmare trying to get one. But I always run Blast Burn on it. I don't like Blaze Kick. I just don't. I like that kind of one-hit KO because you're only getting really one move off with Blaziken ever.
That's
I
true.
think. So you may as well go for the nuke. So
Yeah. What about Obstagoon?
Yeah, that was the actual Pokemon there was.
sorry,
What about Obstagoon?
Obstagoon. I like it. Can't use it. Don't have one.
Right, fair enough.
I mean, you won't make one.
What's that?
You
Leo?
won't make one because you don't have a rank 1.
Rank 20. Rank 20 or below, you know me. I'm not that good, so I need all the help I can get with IVs.
Oh dear. There's a guy from Stoke who's like that. Who's we're going to be having him on soon. The magician. He likes his rank 1s. He's not very good either, so he has to have his rank 1s to help him out. But I'm sure he'll defend himself against that at another time. Yeah. Obstagoon. I mean, I don't think it's ever a first choice over Vigoroth. I think if my team was built in such a way where I didn't have ice and grass separate, I don't think I'd be considering it. But I think it's just something to put out there that people might, if they're finding that they are a bit weak to fire, that's going to give you an extra option versus a couple of the good ones. So, yeah. Okay, so Greg, Captain Charizard, loves his fire types. Enlighten us. What have you picked? Hey.
That says it all, guys. Charizard for me, one and only. Got to use it. Every single meta it comes up in, it's a guaranteed choice of mine. I feel like I'm the best player in the world playing Charizard. And for this cup, I'll use a wee bit of spice. Not a lot of people have it, and it's Wing Attack Charizard. It flips a lot of matches where you should be losing. Like Altaria, it comes a lot closer. Whiscash comes a lot closer. Mantine does a lot closer. And the rest, your grass types are just almost null and void because you're still able to hit those blast burns. I will be running a fire type for that fast attack damage. I think that's key in this meta. That you've got to have a fire spinner.
So you're going to run a fire spinner and Wing Attack Charizard?
Yes.
Wow. Nice.
There's going to be too much Scammery. There's got to be too much Abomasnow. So
Too much Mantine.
that's okay, because there will be something in the back for that. Don't you worry,
Yeah.
Leo.
I guess that could be a strategy. Like, I think if I see 2 fire types, I'm just like, okay, I'm choking to use Mantine. So you could use that as a sort of baiting trap strategy as well.
Yeah, definitely. There is a community day coming up. I don't know if you know. It's Charmander. So your big pal, he gets to collect more candy. I like the more candy. Also, Dragon Breath. Dragon Breath, as we know, it's an oppressive move, which should be dealing quite a bit of fast move damage on almost everything in this meta. Apart from those steel types.
Especially a shadow one. If they're knocking about, like, that'd be horrific.
Only have one. Matty, I don't know if I can elite TM another one.
Fair enough. Yeah. Do you know what? I looked at Charizard because I thought it might be nice to take on Galarian Stunfisk because of most fire types you're going to have to double shield versus Galarian Stunfisk. And Shadow Charizard beats with Fire Spin. This is, I'm afraid, unfortunately, it beats Galarian Stunfisk in the 2s straight Dragon Claw, and you come out with a lot of HP on that. And as I'm sure you're quite aware, Blast Burn.
It's like a truck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if it's resisted, it hits like a truck.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you see Charizard like exploiting anything in this meta? Like, I know you touched on grass types. Are you concerned at all that Do you think you'll get the use out of Charizard if you're running a fire spinner as well?
I'll find a way how to make the 2 fire types work.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I think what I like most about Fire Spin Charizard is if you do win the lead and they switch out a grass type, that's your Charizard. Like, I'm just gonna fast attack this down, shield once at the very most, and I'll have like two blast burns for whatever comes out. So you're gonna win switch and you're gonna win shield advantage. And like I said, maybe with my sort of like Mantine try to win the switch, and then Charizard sort of can close pretty hard as well. But the problem with wing attack Charizard, it doesn't really do that fast attack farming. It's more like you're just spamming charge moves, so you're gonna have to like its role changes. So how will you like build your team around a Pokemon that spams charge moves rather than like uses its fast move to kill and farm for the charge moves to go into like the next battle, next round, next like Pokemon that switches in? Greg?
I like to keep shields for Charizard. I like a specific strategy when I'm playing Charizard where I use 4 shields. You get 2 shields to start with and 2 other Pokemon, so if you can guard Charizard and keep 2 shields for it, can blast burn it through anything. Almost.
Yeah, I think that's as valid strategy as any, to be completely honest. Like, when you've got something that hits just sickeningly hard like that, yeah, why not throw everything else under the bus? I mean, as long as you're not coming up against, you might be able to blast burn your way through, let's say, I don't know, a Pelipper, like if you with a shield extra and a bit of energy, but as long as you're not coming up against 2 counters, it's I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun, if nothing else. What do you reckon, Dylan?
I was actually looking at Charizard, so I've been looking at the Fire Spin. I would prefer to run the Fire Spin purely because Fire Spin down the Abomasnow.
Yeah.
Purely for that.
Yeah.
I was also doing some research into the Dragon Breath one, but I thought it was going to be a bit better than it should have been, but against a lot of the meta, you'd rather have Fire Spin or One Attack.
Yeah, I guess with that stab, Dragon Breath sort of falls a bit between Fire Spin and One Attack. It sort of doesn't quite have the power. Oh, sorry, mate.
So it's just because Dragon Breath, I think it does pull out the Altaria one, but with Stunfisk, Galarian Stunfisk in the meta, and also Skarmory, I don't see it working.
Yeah, and at least with Air Slash, you've got the speed of getting to the blast burns, haven't you? So, I mean, I think maybe there could be I'm sure someone will find a niche way to use Dragon Breath out there somewhere.
That's great to do that.
That's it. That's the challenge. Yeah.
There's a team right there. Charizard, Altaria, and what is it?
Dragonite.
And Dragonite, yes.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. No Wigglytuffs allowed. Yeah. Yeah, that's another fight. I mean, at the point of running Dragon Breath, you're also completely losing to Wigglytuff, which is, I mean, I don't know if, I'm sure at some point you guys will have been stuck in the Steelix versus Wigglytuff matchup a long time ago now, and finding it surprisingly difficult to win because you're hitting Wigglytuff with Dragon Tail with Steelix.
Aye.
I think Dragon Breath on Charizard is probably in a similar situation, but again, I don't think we'll see many Wigglytuffs about. But yeah, I think that alone would probably put me off Dragon Breath in this meta, to be honest, because if I've got a fire type, I'm wanting it to be I'm wanting it to be able to beat Charm on the whole. And I mean, both Fire Spin and Wing Attack give you that. Yeah. Any other thoughts on Charizard, guys? Anything you think we've not given enough credit to, Greg?
just his general awesomeness, mate. You know what I mean? It's just class. I mean, every raid that I used to go to in the town via the COVID stuff, it was, as you used to skull people about how good Charizard was. You know what I mean? Dylan and Leo have heard it umpteen times, so it's all good. They know the script.
Yeah. Shame Megas aren't allowed, really. Megazard X with Dragonite.
I think the Dragon Breath, that's basically all that's here for. Currently, there will be a meta where the Dragon Breath comes into play, so do make one. Definitely make one. But I think it's just that kind of, it's that paywall thing now. It's like, got to give the Mega Charizard X a go.
Yeah, fair enough. Right, should we move on to Dylan then? Quagsire.
Yeah, so I picked Quagsire. I just love what he does. To be fair, against the top meta Pokemons like Mantine, Galarian Stunfisk, regular Stunfisk, he just completely outwalls them. He's the only Mudboy that can actually beat Mantine, which I like about him. And he does okay in like good matchups, like in the lead, but I prefer to use him with a lot like I prefer to have him in the back with energy. If you're able to come down, mud shot something down, that's when he really shines.
Yeah.
For example, like with Altaria, he already wins the zero shields, but with 4 extra mud shots, he wins 1 and 2. Pelipper, it can win with 3 extra mud shots. And the only real weakness it has in the meta is grass, which you'll have a couple of grass types, but I don't see it being too dominant. Obviously, you have a bonus now, but it walls some of the other flyers like the Articuno, the Zapdos, and it just destroys Alolan Marowak, the fires.
Yeah, I think it's got a lot of play, to be honest. I mean, I'm still not sold on the standard Mudboy here, but I think if I was going for a Mudboy, Quagsire is 100% the one I would go for. I think, you've reeled off a lot of matchups there that it has, and a lot of those Wishcash and Swampert don't have. And rock types are banned in this cup for a reason, because rock damage is awesome, and Stone Edge is a solid move, and when you get into it as fast as Quagsire does, and as you say, with those couple of mud shots energy lead, he's firing them off so fast. Like, it's incredible, really. And what I particularly like about it is that even though it hasn't got the fast ground spammy move, it's just got the Earthquake, you can still switch into Galarian Stunfisk comfortably and still win all even shields, even if Galarian Stunfisk keeps baiting you, because you're so tanky. The Earthquakes aren't. It's not like Swampert where. Yeah, it's not like Swampert where if you take an Earthquake, you're within range.
I actually quite like using them as a safe switch, because apart from grass, even if it's a losing matchup like Vigoroth, in the fresh matchup, if in the 1-1 Vigoroth leads with 2 HP, it's very close. So if they've not got a grass type, even if it genuinely loses, you'll leave them very low.
Yeah, and I think if the grass type is a Bombus now, and you've switched in and got a 2 mud shot lead or something, you probably get into a stone. Well, I'm sure you get into a Stone Edge before they get into an Energy Ball. You
will get into a Stone Edge, but I have looked into the matchup. They do it. You can try and call the Weather Ball, but they can, in even shields, they can still go straight Weather Ball and kill you.
Right. Fair.
Energy Ball. You mean?
No.
They can just kill you going straight Weather Ball. Well,
yeah, they can kill me straight on Weather Ball.
Yeah, but I mean, even so, like, you've got a far better Abominus now matchup than something like Wishcash, for example. I think also the having it in the back is, as you said, is something I find quite appealing about it. I've done a little bit of practice with it, and I quite like it that way as well, because I'm finding that in this meta, there's a lot of spammy spammy charge moves. So you've got lots of Weather Ball, lots of Rock Slide, Body Slam, Night Slash. The
main reason I've been running it in the back is because you win Mantine and all shield snares in the zeros and ones, but the twos you just can't win in the twos. But if you're leading that in the back, you will probably take a shield and then bring in Quagsire into Mantine, and then it should be no problem.
Yeah, but yeah, good shout. Greg, Leo, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I like Quagsire because, like the other Mud Boys, their main problem was their double weakness to grass, but we're not really getting much grass fast attacks, which which is its biggest problem. We're having a Bomb of Snow with Powder Snow, and I did say before, Bullet Seed isn't a very strong hitting move, so. I mean, it is double super effective, but you can't exactly like. I mean, if a Ferrothorn does get switched into Quagsire, you're probably going to switch out, but it's not something that you're like going to be super. That you should be super worried about. It's not like we have like Vine Whips or Razor Leafs. So I think in this meta, it's like you said, it's a pretty solid safe switch. Even if you do get Bomb of Snow, it's not like the worst thing. Because I think even with a Bomb of Snow, if you call the Weather Ball, like if the Bomb of Snow knows I can go straight Weather Ball, and you just don't shield, you're probably gonna come out. You're gonna lose switch, but you're probably gonna come out with energy shield advantage. And I think this meta is all about trying to take any advantage you can, like either take switch or take shields, and then try to take the win from there. So I do like Quagsire.
Yeah.
I think Obama Snow and Ferrothorn are the only problems, and I think you can just build your team around that.
That's reminds me of something. Yesterday I done a couple of practice matchups, and I saw an absolute mad lad using Ferrothorn with Thunder and Flash Cannon against my Quagsire.
Okay, that's definitely
straight
not the right move set.
Yeah, straight up.
Fight me. There's that's not the right move set in any scenario.
No, I agree.
You definitely want Power Whip.
I think what I really liked about Quagsire as well in the safe switch role was that I liked pairing it with Altaria, because, as we say, if you're going to use it as a safe switch, the counter switch is a Bomber Snow.
Yeah.
And that's most people's Altaria counter, or the main one that they bring. I mean, yeah, there's G-Fisk in the back as well, but if you have something in the lead like a counter user that beats both a Bomber Snow and G-Fisk, you're sort of covering your bases there. I think it opens up a lot of play and a lot of strategies purely because you know it's going to draw in the Bomber Snow. So I think that's something to consider. What do you reckon, Greg?
I like Quagsire. Like Dylan and Leo says, it's got great matchups against this meta. Does it get beat off the other two Mud Boys?
It's iffy with Swampert. You can win in the ones, but you'll lose in the zeros and twos.
Do you think Acid Spray has any play?
I was looking at the Sludge Bomb on it, but I think because with Earthquake, you need Earthquake to beat the Galarian Stunkfisk, and you need the Stone Edge to beat the Mantine. I don't think it's worth the trade-off.
No. Yeah, I think this is possibly the first time we've seen Quagsire where I think the moveset is pretty much set in stone. It has those options as Greg was saying, Acid Spray and Sludge Wave, where in the past we've perhaps considered having Sludge Bomb on it to beat Azumarill.
Yeah.
But I do that in GBL.
Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah, it's one of those matchups where Azumarill can perhaps get a bit complacent, isn't it? Like, thinks, I'm just bulky.
Quagsire's my Azu counter.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. And yeah, and I think here it's more or less set in stone, isn't it? It's similar. Well, it's the same coverage as Galarian Sunfisk, isn't it? So we all know how good that is. It's just a slightly different typing.
I think. Go on.
Anyway. No, that's what I was going to say. That's the main reason. Obviously everyone's default Pokemon is going to be Galarian Stunkfisk. I was going to use it, but then I thought when if both of them get caught up with a grass Pokemon, they're both going to lose. Obviously, Quagsire's going to lose a lot harder, but typically Galarian Silph will still lose to the grass. So I feel like you're going to get farmed down at less, and also Galarian Silph has a lot more weakness in this cup. Like typically against the fighters, it will just completely lose against. Whereas apart from grass, it's Quagsire is completely neutral against most of the meta.
Yeah, I think, and we've touched on it as well. That's what makes it such a really good save switch, isn't it? That being neutral, and hitting so hard. I think Quagsire is really good, mate. To be honest, I'm sort of set on four or five members of my team, and the last two I'm sort of flip-flopping between sort of Quagsire and Ferrothorn and maybe Articuno and maybe Lugia, but yeah, I think Quagsire is a great shout. To be honest, I'm surprised it's as low down in the rankings as it is. I don't know why that is, but
until all the cups start happening, and then things will climb.
Well, yeah, that's true.
You know, meta always changes.
Yeah, and I think this meta in particular, because as Leo was saying earlier, you've got 5 different mons, 5 very different mons on most teams. We will see trends and big shifts, won't we? Sort of, when a bit reminiscent of Voyager Cup in that respect, where there's such a variety on the field that things are going to change, and I'm sure at one point Quagsire will have a lot of play. Whether it's immediately, I don't know, but certainly if fire types pick up more play, or certainly if you're playing Greg, I think Quagsire might be able to do a lot of damage.
They'll not beat me for sure.
Yeah, you said something interesting about Quagsire moveset being pretty much set in stone or set in ground, but the issue with that is that because all these moves are so take so long to charge up. It doesn't take as long because you have Mud Shot, but we're talking about a 55 and a 65 energy move. We're not talking Weather Balls and Body Slams here. So I feel he's better as a closer maybe, because like you said, it does beat a lot of things. So if you just kind of bait out one counter. Maybe don't use it as a safe switch, but try to get the Abomasnow out of the way. Swap in Mantine, get the Abomasnow out, and then bring in your third Pokemon, beat that, and then lose to the second Pokemon of your opponent and just Mud Shot that down with 2 shields. Because Earthquake hits pretty much everything. It's got coverage for everything. It's got Rock, not Rock, but Stone Edge, which is a Rock move for the Flyers, and Earthquake for everything else. There's nothing in its move pool that resists its moves in this meta. It'll hit for neutral at the very least, or it'll be super effective. Because I feel if you are using it as a safe switch, then obviously you can use it as a closer or a safe switch, but if you're using it as a safe switch, then you kind of you need to realize that you're not switching it into win switch. You're just there to force shields, because you're probably gonna lose. I mean, if they let a Stone Edge through and you win, then that's fine. But I feel if they switch in an Abomasnow, you're they're going there to win switch. So you're gonna lose switch, but you're probably gonna have shield advantage. And you said something interesting there about if you're pairing it with Skarmory, not Skarmory, sorry, Altaria, then that's a smart way to bait out the Abomasnow. But you also have to be careful of Galarian Stunfisk as well, which can beat Altaria as well, which everyone's team will have.
Yeah.
So if an enemy's team has Abomasnow and Galarian Stunfisk, which I think is going to be a very common core.
Absolutely.
In I'm just going to use these 2 Pokemon and then switch my third one. It's just things worth noting in that regard that I just thought of.
No, for sure. For sure. I think, I think, you're definitely right. I think when you say if you're using it as a safe switch, you're probably looking to get shield advantage rather than switch. And I guess in that respect, given that you're then locked in and are susceptible to the Abomasnow counter swap, maybe it's better. Maybe it's a better lead than it is a safe swap, because if you do end up versus a bonus no,
It probably is a better lead, but just with my luck, most games I do lead it with, oh, there's an bonus no, there's a Seraphon. I don't know if that's just my luck, but it always happens to me, so I don't feel comfortable using it.
At least you're getting it in these practice games and not actual tournaments. Yet.
Yet, yeah, fair enough.
We'll see.
Nice. Well, let's leave it there then, guys. Thank you very much for joining. Really enjoyed that. I think, yeah, certainly with Quagsire, I think I've got a lot to think about. I think it tickles me in all the right places. I think Quagsire, I think I might end up using it. But we'll see. So yeah, thanks again for joining, and the best of luck with the upcoming cups and the upcoming season. In fact, it starts tomorrow, doesn't it? I think so. Yeah, I'll be seeing you all near the top of the leaderboards sometime soon.
Well, okay.
Right. Catch you later, guys.
Maybe when we
See ya.
get our own
See you
Scottish
after.
leaderboard.